Hello, welcome back to the Planet 40k. This is the last episode in terms of the reviews for the assassins. Now we've already covered the other three assassins on the channel, so this is the final one, which is the Eversor assassin. So as for you Space Marine players out there, you're not going to find him in the Space Marine Codex. He'll be found in the Psychic Awakening War of the Spider book, which is from the 8th edition, but it is the most up-to-date rule set for the assassins there. So let's get straight in to his data sheets, then we'll be giving him a Planet 40k star rating at the end of the video. So he's coming in at 5 power level or 100 points, so it matches the other three assassins in terms of the cost. He's going to be one of your elite selections, although that won't actually matter, you'll see why in the ability section. Now as for his data sheet, he's got a movement of 7 inches, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, strength and toughness 4, wounds 6, attack 6, leadership 9 and a 6+ save. So he's got more attacks than all the other assassins, and he is your melee specialist. Again, when we go through the weapons, you're going to see why exactly he is the melee specialist. And as for that 6+ armor save, don't worry too much about that, he will have an invuln save. So the Eversor Assassin is a single model equipped with an Executioner pistol, a Neuro Gauntlet, a Power Sword and Melter Bombs. Let's go through all those bits of war gear that he's going to be taking. So starting off with the Executioner pistol, it's a 12-inch pistol, it's got 4 shots, strength 4, -1 AP, 1 damage, but you can re-roll the wound rolls when you're targeting infantry units. Now as the AP is only -1 and 1 damage, you're already going to get the feeling that it's pretty decent against those weaker infantry units as opposed to the more elite ones. Then his Neuro Gauntlet, which is a melee weapon, it's strength +1, that makes it strength 5, and then again it's -1 AP, 1 damage, and again you can re-roll the wound rolls. This time it's against all units as opposed to just infantry models. He's got a Power Sword, so there's another melee option if you wanted to use that one instead of the Neuro Gauntlet. Again it is strength +1, making it strength 5, but this time it's -3 AP and 1 damage. Now you're not going to get to re-roll the wound rolls, but you're getting a little bit extra AP, so that's going to be working a little bit better against the elite models. Then finally the Melter Bombs that are only 4-inch range, grenade 1, but it's strength 8, -4 AP and the damage is D6. You're re-rolling wound rolls when you're targeting vehicle models. So he's a little bit multi-talented because he can go for light infantry, he can go for elite infantry, and he can also go for vehicles too. Now as far as his abilities go, in terms of the faction abilities, he's got the Agent of the Imperium ability. So if your army is battle forged, and he's effectively not going to be taking up a slot if you've got a patrol battalion or brigade detachment. And then furthermore, he's not going to mess around all your chapter tactics or your defenders of humanity abilities. So whatever faction you're playing in terms of the Imperium, it's not going to mess up any of those abilities whatsoever, even though he doesn't have that keyword. Then he's got Independent Operative, so he can never take a warlord trait. However, to compensate for that, during deployment you can set him up in concealment instead of placing him on the battlefield. From turn 2 onwards, he can reveal his position and it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from any model. So he's effectively got a deep strike mechanic there. Then finally he's got the lightning reflexes for that 4+ invulnerable save. So that 6+ armor save is only going to be required if you actually lose an invuln save. For example, if there's a Psyker about casting Null Zone, you will go down to a 6+ standard save there. As for his more unique datasheet abilities, he's got the Bio Meltdown, so if the model is destroyed before removing the model from the battlefield, roll 1d6 for each enemy within 6 inches of the model, and on a 4+, they're going to suffer D3 mortal wounds. So it's almost like a vehicle exploding, but instead of needing a 6, you just do it on a 4+, which is very good because he's kind of like a melee character anyways. He's going to be getting into the thick of it, so even when he goes down, he's going to be throwing out D3 mortal wounds to every unit there that's in close proximity. He's then got the Sentinel Array, so whenever an enemy unit tries to fall back while they're 1 inch away from your Eversor Assassin, before they can do so, you can shoot as if it was your own shooting phase, but the attacks must target the unit that's trying to fall back. So you're going to be shooting your 4 pistol options, re-rolling wound rolls against infantry models, against anyone trying to escape your assassin there. He's then got the Frenzen ability, so when making a charge roll, you don't need to roll 2d6, you can roll 3d6. So it's approximately an average roll of a 10 there. Then in addition, you're going to get 2 additional attacks if you made a charge move or heroically intervened. Now he's got 6 attacks base, so if you do charge or heroically intervene, that's going to go straight up to 8 attacks on the charge there. Then finally he's got the Killing Rampage. Each time a model in an enemy unit is destroyed as a result of an attack made by a melee weapon by your assassin, you can immediately make 1 additional attack with that same melee weapon, but those additional attacks cannot generate further attacks. Then also he can consolidate up to 6 inches as opposed to 3. So now we just mentioned on the charge that he's going to have 8 attacks, and any models that he's killing is going to be given an additional attack. So if he goes up against a real weak unit, such as Toughness 3 Guardians for example, if you roll really lucky, then potentially you can actually put out 16 attacks. If you actually kill 8 Guardians in that first volley of attacks, then you're going to get 8 additional attacks, which then can further do more damage. So a potential of 16 attacks coming from one single model there. Again, when you're looking at the war gear, when he's able to re-roll the wound rolls for the weapon, and it's a strength 5, -1 AP, 1 damage. So in fact, it doesn't even need to be Toughness 3 models, it could even be toughness 4 models as well. Ideally they'll only have 1 wound apiece in order to bring them down. Then onto his faction keyword, so he's got the Imperium keyword of course, he's an infantry model, he's a character model. So that character keyword is of course going to give him the Lookout Sir ability, which he may need because he's going to get into the thick of it as already mentioned. He's a close combat machine, so he's going to really need to get involved and be a little bit protected by a Lookout Sir bubble. But if he is deep striking, you may not need it, especially when you've got a 3d6 charge and you only need 9 inches there. But if you want to take precautions, you can always put a Lookout Sir bubble around him. Now as for the stratagems he's got available, 2 of them you're able to use on all the assassins and 2 of them are more unique to the Eversor assassin. Let's recap on the 2 that are available to all 4 of the models. The first one is Shadow Assignments, 2 command points, and effectively pre-battle you can swap out your assassin for one of the other assassins after you've seen your opponent's list. Maybe you're going against a faction that's really psyker heavy, so instead you want to get your Collector's assassin out, or maybe there's a lot of characters and you want your Vindicator assassin out. But if the case is there's lots of infantry horde units, then I'd be sticking with the Eversor assassin because of the amount of attacks he can do in melee. Then the second stratagem is actually a free stratagem to use, priority threat neutralized. All it requires you to do is kill a character model, and then you're going to gain a command point, and if it's the Warlord you're going to be gaining 2. Now, to be honest, his weakness is probably against the more elite units and characters within the game, because he's only got a -1 AP weapon and 1 damage as well. So he's probably not going to be killing characters, and he's also not ignoring the Lookout Sir ability, and even if he did, he's only got a 12-inch pistol anyway. So he's probably not going to be killing any characters if I'm honest, but it is there for those lucky days. Now the 2 more unique stratagems that are available to this assassin, the first one is Hyper Metabolism. Using it at the start of any phase, until the end of the phase you roll 1d6 each time this model loses a wound, excluding the ones that are lost as a result of a mortal wound, and on a 4+ the wound is not lost, so effectively a 4+ feel no pain save against normal damage, but not mortal wounds. That's actually huge if you think about it, because you're not going to be using it turn 1 because he'll probably be deep striking. And you may not even need to use it in turn 2 because you're going to likely get your charge off, and if you've selected the correct enemy units then you're likely going to be removing that unit anyway, so you're saving it for your opponent's turn, whether it's their shooting phase or whether it's their fight phase. You want to be saving it for there, and it's only 1 command point as well. It's not too expensive, it probably should be 2 if I'm honest. A 4+ feel no pain save is pretty decent. Then the other one, which is 2 command points, which is Stim Overload. So done at the end of the fight phase, you select your Eversor assassin and that model can fight an additional time this phase, and then after the model was fought, roll a d6. On a 1, 2 or 3 he's suffering a mortal wound, which is definitely worth it. If you didn't quite clear out that horde unit that you're being attacked by, maybe it's a massive Orc Boy unit and maybe you removed about 10 models there, you've just about survived, you may as well go again, because then you want to be moving on to the next target for your next turn with that 7-inch movement and the 3d6 charge. You don't want to be hanging around wasting the turn finishing off the rest of those Orc Boys there. So let's get on with the summary for the Eversor assassin then, starting with the good. As always there's quite a lot of good with these assassins. The first one is it can go into any Imperium faction, whether you're playing Space Marines, Astra Militarum, Sisters of Battle, among many other options there, and he's not going to be messing up any of your faction bonuses and abilities. You're still going to be getting all your combat doctrines, your chapter tactics and all that good stuff. He's no longer costing 1 CP to field, which used to be the case. You used to have to take an auxiliary detachment just to take him. Now he just slots in straight into a detachment without even taking up a slot in fact. He's got a 4+ invulnerable save, which is always handy, and he's going to be hitting on 2s at range and in melee. He can deep strike, which is actually huge, especially with that 3d6 charge, which also gives him more attacks. He's then got that Sentinel Array ability to shoot in their opponent's turn if they want to fall back, so you may be able to get rid of a few more models that way. It's not the strongest of abilities. Then he's also got that Killing Rampage just to get even more attacks every time he kills a model, which actually gives him a potential of 16 attacks. Obviously that's when you're rolling really hot and you've killed 8 models to get another 8 more. Very unlikely to be the case, but you've still got a potential of 16 attacks there. And then finally, to top it off, he's got powerful stratagems, a 4+ feel no pain save and the Fight Twice stratagem. Both are very strong. As for the bad, there's not much bad here that I can talk about. You can't be spamming assassins like you used to be able to, but realistically you don't need loads of them nowadays. 1 is more than enough. The ranged attacks are only at short range. You've got the 12-inch 4-shot pistol and of course the 4-inch grenade, all very short range of course. I mean, he's going to be getting into melee anyway, but you just got to bear that in mind. If he does clear a unit off and he's lost in a certain part of the board with no select targets available, he's not going to be doing much at range. And then finally, he's kind of weak in melee versus tougher targets. Targets that have got multi-wounds or a really good armor save or an invuln save, because he's only got -1 AP and 1 damage weapons, and he's actually relying on getting more attacks by killing models, which is obviously not going to do against the tougher units and characters there. So before we get onto the rating, let's get the shout out of the day dealt with. This one is going to Jan SD for their comment relating to the Collector's Assassin. They made a really good point about the Imperium ability, which means if he's actually targeted, it's going to turn the weapon skill and ballistic skill value of enemy units to a 6+. So the point is actually made here is you can use him as a massive tie-up unit, charge him into a big melee target, and they're going to really struggle to hit him on 6s. At least for a turn or two, which I didn't give this enough credit for in the video that we did, so I'm glad someone's pointed this out. In fact, I'm going to be pinning that comment as soon as I've finished this recording. So let's get on with the actual rating for the Eversor Assassin then. So as far as the Assassins go, I think he's better than the Calidus Assassin. I don't think he's better than the Vindicare Assassin, and I think he's sort of on par with the Collector's Assassin. I'm not quite sure. I personally think he's really good. Weaker large infantry units are quite a problem at the moment for the 40k game, whether you're talking about Orc Boys, the Beast Snaggers, or the Sisters of Battle with the Battle Sisters, or Drakari Witches for example. There's lots of very weak, cheap, hoarded type melee options that the strongest factions have taken now. So to have something that can deal with those and deal with them pretty comfortably as well is actually a really good thing for the Imperium factions to use. That doesn't mean to say it's going to get a 5-star rating, it's definitely not quite there. But for today I'm going to be giving it a Planet 40k rating of 3.5. So guys, that's what I think. Let me know what you think below. Drop a like if you found the video useful. Please do sub if you are new. We're trying to get to 5,000 subs by Christmas. We're just about on par with where we want to be at the moment. So if you can hit that subscribe button below, you'll be doing me a huge favour. So the last thing to say here is thank you very much for watching. And as always, I'll see you next time.